Must be Mr. Ramirez, reporter.
Yes. Mr. O'Brien, thanks so much for having me, man. It's really a pleasure.
Kiddo. Please, come in. We're going to do this upstairs. I hope you don't mind.
Okay, yeah.
Please, come right in, sir.
Thanks a lot, Mr. O'Brien. Hope you don't mind. I brought a couple things. I brought a little camera so I could get some of this footage, if you don't mind, if I could just record some of that. And the tape recorder. So, like I said, thanks a lot for having me over. Yeah.
Mr. Ramirez, thank you so much for conducting this interview with me. I just want to take off my glasses and my hat. Just want to tell you right off the bat, if at the end of a war story you feel uplifted somehow, or a bit of a moral rectitude, then you're actually a victim to a very old and cynical lie.
Our mission is to camp out here, stay stationed, and make sure nothing gets past us.
Well, Mr. Ramirez, I'd like to tell you about Tad Lavender. Ted Lavender was a part of our platoon. 19 years old, this kid. In fact, the average age for most of us was 19, 20, 21. I think the oldest one that I remember there was 22 years old. Our lieutenant, we stopped at this place and we set up camp. Our lieutenant went around to set up a perimeter. Ted Lavender went just a few yards past that perimeter.
Hey, stay within the perimeter.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm gonna go check up on him. All right.
When one of our platoon members went to check on him, Ted Lavender was just gunned down. Literally, he fell to the ground like a sack of potatoes. That was the end of him. That was the end of his story. That was the end of anything we could ever think of for Ted. Just wanted to tell you that story because it brings me great sadness.
That must have been something, Mr. O'Brien.
Mr. Ramirez, the reason I was telling you about Ted Lavender is, first rule of thumb, a true war story maintains its uncompromising allegiance to evil and obscenity, which is what happened in this case. Another story I wanted to tell you that it still resonates so freshly in my mind. A group of 4 of us, with me there would be 5, were sent up to the mountains to basically listen in on the enemy.
Hey, quiet down! We got a mission to do.
After a few days, all of us begin to hear all different kinds of sounds. The idea behind this listening surveillance that we were doing was to listen to the enemy, and if we heard the enemy, we would to call in airstrikes.
Things I carry.
Well, Mr. Ramirez, I want to tell you that after a few days, we would hear the strangest of sounds. First, we heard some of the guys reported hearing babies. Some of the other guys reported hearing trains. And some of the other guys reported hearing people as if there was a cocktail party. We couldn't take it anymore, and after a few days of this mental torture, we called in an airstrike. I know that for a fact thousands of dollars were spent on ammunition to blow up that whole entire mountain. There was nobody there. And we spoke very little of it after that. That's what I remember. Before we wrap this up, just want to tell you a story about two really good buddies, Lemon and Rat. At least that's what they call each other. These are the best of friends. They used to talk to each other all the time, tell each other jokes, trying to keep their morale up continually. Always joking around. In fact, they used to share their pictures in their wallets and look at them and laugh and make jokes about them and just think about all those things that were waiting for them at home. One day we were on a recon mission and we were walking by and Lemon was lagging behind, and I remember. And you got to understand that Vietnam is a place where there's lots of twigs and moss and stuff littering the ground. It is like impossible to see the danger that lies underneath it. And I remember Rat calling Lemon to move on, to catch up with the group. And as Rat tried to come back to the group, sorry if I get emotional on this. I remember it like it was yesterday. Lemon walked back, and he stepped on a mine.
Come on, Lemon.
His body, the explosion was such that it consumed him. It seemed as if God had taken him, consumed into him. All that was left of that tremendous explosion was his shoe and his gun. That's all we could find. Such a young kid. You know what? I can remember the expression in his eyes, the look as he was walking back. He knew that that moment that was the end, and it was. Again, to this day, I'm convinced that God just took him with him. He must have. Again, all we found was a shoe and a gun. I'm sorry. The angles of vision are skewed. When a booby trap explodes, you close your eyes and you duck and you float outside yourself. When a guy dies, like Kurt Lemon did, as I just told you, you look away and then you look again, and then for a moment you look and then you look again, and the pictures get all jumbled up, and you tend to miss a lot of what just happened. Then afterwards, when you get to tell the story, I'm sorry if I get emotional on this, there's always this surreal seemingness which makes the story seem untrue, but which in fact represents the hard, exact truth as it really happened. Mr. Ramirez, in many cases, a true war story cannot be believed. You really have to hear me out on this. True war stories do not generalize. They do not indulge in abstractions or analysis. It's a real, true war story. If at the end of a war story you feel uplifted somehow, or a bit of a moral rectitude, then you're actually a victim to a very old and cynical lie. True war stories do not generalize. They do not indulge in abstractions or analysis. First rule of thumb, a true war story maintains its uncompromising allegiance to evil and obscenity.